Hi there everyone, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this 2,000 point Tempest of War game between the forces of the Sons of Satan Chaos Space Marines and the forces of House Cadmus of the Imperial Knights. In the ruins of this once grand Imperial city, the mechanized Knights of House Cadmus have come to cleanse the heretic filth of the Sons of Satan Renegade Space Marine chapter in this Tempest of War game. As you can see, we've got the armies already deployed and the cards drawn for Tempest of War. So looking at our mission right now, we're looking at priority targets for our primary mission. So 5 victory points in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds for 1 and more objective markers, with an additional 5 primary for each objective marker at the end of the game. Over the battlefield rules a storm of warp lightning, so that at the start of every psychic phase, we're going to have a mortal wound suffered to any unit on a 6. And we also have sweeping engagement for our deployment, so kind of the long edge diagonal deployment that has already been deployed with the 2 armies, with the Chaos Space Marines taking this closer side, with a front line holding on to the edge of deployment. And then opposite them are the Imperial Knights, similarly holding on to the front lines, ready to make a scrap in the middle. Before we get into the game, let's take a look at the armies. Starting with the Sons of Satan, I'm going to be running them today as the word bearers. So reroll the hit in melee if I charge, get charged, or perform a heroic intervention, as well as a 5-up feel no pain against mortals, which is going to be especially helpful in today's game with the warp lightning storms. From right to left, we've got a 5-man Legionnaire squad, Mark of Tzeentch with a plasma gun. We've got our Warlord, the Chaos Lord in Terminator armor. He's going to be rocking that Exalted Possession and the Mantle of Traitors. So Exalted Possessions will give him the Demon and Demonkin keywords, 4-up invuln against ranged, an extra strength, attack, and wounds, and an extra 2 inches. He's going to be in his Chaos Land Raider with a 5-man squad of unmarked Terminators. Then behind them, 10-man squad of Possessed. In a Rhino, a 10-man squad of Legionnaires, Mark of Khorne, all with pistols and chainswords, except for the leader of the squad who has the axe. Then hiding out in this crater right here is a freshly painted up batch of possessed cultists with 3 of the bigger demon units and 5 of the little folks. Then we've got my Defiler, whose autocannon arm is falling off right now, flanked with a Mauler Fiend next to my 2nd HQ choice, a Warpsmith, and then on the home objective is a 5-man squad of Legionnaires, same thing as the one on the other flank, 5-man, 1 plasma gun Mark of Tzeentch, and a Chaos Spawn. Off the board, we have the 9 other Mark of Khorne Legionnaires in the boat, 5 Warp Talons, and then the 5 Terminators that are hanging out with their lord. On the side of the Imperium with the Imperial Knights, we're going to be running them as House Cadmus, as I always do. Holding on to the home field objective is going to be our Knight Castellan with what you see is what you get. So 2 of the Siegebreaker cannons, only 1 set of missiles. Then we have a Knight Warden with a, not Icarus rocket pod, the cheaper of the 2 rocket pods on top with a melta-gun. Then swinging around to the Warlord, we have our Knight Errant. I've given him Landstrider to make him a little bit faster, and Sanctuary to help him with his invulnerable save. He's got the Icarus cannons up top, as well as a stubber in the chest. And then right in front of him, probably going to be benefiting from his bondsman ability, is a squad of 3 Armorger Warglaves. Also gave the Warlord the upgrade to be the Herald, so that he can help out the 3 Armorgers a little bit more. That's going to allow them to have a 4-up invuln when under the effects of his Armorger, or under his Bondsman ability. And we're also going to be able to apply his Bondsman ability of Advance and Charge to a 2nd Armorger. For our Code Chivalric, we're going to be going with Defend the Realm and Lay Low the Tyrants. So we need to be on more objective markers than the Chaos Space Marines and kill a Warlord character, monster, or vehicle in a battle round with a melee attack. So those are the 2 armies. So let's go on to discuss terrain and get the roll-off done. For terrain in today's game, most of it is going to be 5-inch tall or higher ruins, so obscuring for everything save the big knights. So essentially just the Armorgers over there. Then we also have a pair of craters, which will provide some cover for our smaller units. Crates are crates. And then most of the terrain has been purchased from Games Workshop. And that should be doing it for our terrain. So now we'll go on to the roll-off for first turn. So we're going to do green die for the knights, red die for the word bearers. And then winner takes first turn and starts us off. So that's a 6 for the word bearers and a 6 for the knights. So reroll them there. And that is looking like it is going to be Imperial Knights turn 1 at the start of this Tempest of War game. Here we are in the command phase for the Imperial Knights, going up to a full 13 command points and 1 honor point for the Imperial Knights of House Cadmus. Our secondary missions for our first round are going to be extend battle lines, blood and guts, and no prisoners, asking us to get into melee and kill, as well as hold 1 in no man's land, which I think is going to be exactly to the Knights' liking. So we're going to keep those 3 secondaries for our first turn. Then we're going to go through the command phase and through the movement phase. Then we will get back to you after the warp lightning storms have concluded and start the shooting. Here we are after movement and psychic has concluded. In the psychic phase, the warp lightning storms lashed out and left everybody except the Chaos Space Marines untouched. So can't see it from where the camera is pointing right now, but the spawn on the first floor of that ruin did take a wound, taking him down to 3 out of 4 remaining. Everybody else was unfazed. These 2 Warglaves got the bondsman ability of the Knight Errant Herald, and got an advance of a 6 and a 3 respectively, setting them up for some charges into the melee monsters of the Chaos Space Marines, while this one just moved his full 12 right up to the middle to hold the central objective. Night Warden moved on around, trying to get out of line of sight of the Land Raider if it's still standing, after the Castellan shoots at it. And then the Errant is taking center stage of the battlefield to set him up for some shots and some potential charges in the later turns. With that, we'll go into shooting, and we'll start off with the heaviest guns. We'll start off with everything save the missiles from the Castellan that can reach out and touch the Land Raider. We're going to start off with the Night Castellan's Plasma Decimator. The Chaos Space Marine Land Raider has activated smoke shields for 1 CP, bringing the Chaos Space Marines down from 12 to 11. So we're going to be hitting on 4s, and with smoke screen active, we're not going to choose to overcharge. We got 9 shots on the Decimator, hitting on 4s, taking out those 1s and 2s, and then toughness 9 on a Chaos Land Raider, strength 8. So somehow only wounding on 5s, but that'll still be 2 at -4. Goes to -3 from Armor of Contempt for Chaos Space Marines. So we're looking at a 5-up save. Fail both of those for 2 damage apiece. That's going to take 4 wounds off of the Land Raider. We're going to move right on through to the Volcano Lance. So we're going to do heavy D3 shots. We'll take 2 shots there, I suppose. A 4-up to hit. Make both of those. Strength 16, toughness 9 on 3s. We'll take a 1 and a 2. I think we'll try to throttle this down. So I'll spend 1 CP right here, bringing the Knights back down to 12. Alright, and then there is 2 wounds at -5 AP. Goes to -4 for a 6-up save on the Land Raider. So 6s. Fail both of those, but since this is D6 plus 8, I think we'll probably risk it. Try to get a lucky 6. Ooh, and we do get a very lucky 6. So only D6 plus 8 damage for only 11 more taken, bringing it down to 1 wound remaining on the Land Raider. Doing the twin Siegebreaker cannons off camera. Got very unlucky, only 4 shots, but we did get 2 wounds to go through, and it's going to be at no AP, so 2 2-up saves. Either of these is the one, that is the Land Raider gone. And a 5 and a 2, it is able to just barely survive the Castellan on 1 wound left. So definitely forcing a CP out of the Marines next turn if we want to make use of it. And that is if we don't turn the Warden's guns to bear on it. And I think we'll try to do just that. Pick off the Land Raider with the Warden. The Heavy Flamer and Melt-A-Gun are both out of range. So we're going to do the Gatling Cannon into the Land Raider. And then the Missile Launcher on top is going to try to pick off some of these Mark of Tzeentch Marines over here in the corner. So we'll start off with 12 shots from the Gatling on 4s. Since smoke screen is still in effect. So that's looking like half and half. Strength 6. So 5s to wound. We'll try to force out as many rolls as we can, so we'll use our reroll there from our Oath. That's 3 at -1 AP, so 3 ups. And that just barely makes it for the Land Raider, so it looks like that'll stay alive. And then turning my pages here to get to the Ironstorm Missile Pod. D6 shots. 6 shots, so that's 2, 4, and 6. On 3s. Strength 5, toughness 4, so 3s. 2 at -1, goes to -none, so 3-up saves. Make 1, fail 1, but with Mark of Tzeentch, that first one will be zeroed out. So we will probably not be able to take any of them off, but try we did. Next up in the shooting phase, we're going to turn to the Knight-Errant Warlord, and everything that he's got is actually going to go on down to the 10-man Possessed Squad. Try to take out a countercharge so that hopefully our one Warglaive here will be able to shoot and charge into the Rhino and not get fought back as easily. After the thermal cannon has gone out and shot, we have 3 5-up invulns to make for the Possessed. And that is unfortunately going to be 3 of them taken off of the field from the heavy weapons. Next up, we've got the small arms fire of the Stubber and the Icarus. So we've got the 4 shots from the Cognus, or Questor, Iron Hail, Heavy Stubber. So 3 shots, and we did use the Oath reroll here, so no free rerolls anymore. And we've got 2 at no AP, thanks to Armor of Contempt. So 3 ups, make a 5 and a 1. That'll be 1 wound taken on a Possessed. And then finally the... trying to fire it. There it is. So the Twin Icarus autocannon on my list of weapon profiles. 4 more shots. Hitting once, wounded on 3. No wounds there. So 1 more wound will be placed onto one of the Possessed, bringing 1 down to 2. For the final non-advancing Knight, we have 1 Armiger Warglaive going into our Rhino, hoping to either pop it and take out some of the Mark of Khorne squad, or make it an easy kill in the charge phase. So we've got 2 Thermal Spears hitting on 3s here. 2 hits, strength 9, toughness 7, so 3s to wound. That'll be it, and then -4 going to -3. We need 6-up saves for the Rhino. Alright, don't make either of those. And then, because we are so close, definitely within half range, 2d6 plus 4 damage. Ooh, almost saw that double 1, but that's going to be 3, 7 damage total. Bring it down to 3 wounds on the Rhino. Quick melt-a-gun into it as well. 3s and 3s. Didn't use our reroll for the Oath, so we'll use it here. 1 melt-a-gun wound at -3, so needing a 6-up. Doesn't make it. D6 plus 2 damage. So 7 damage, and that will take the Rhino out. Does it explode? It does not, unfortunately. Off camera, got the Mark of Khorne squad out of the Rhino, rolled for them, and 2 of them passed. So it's an 8-man squad, so perhaps Khorne desired that result. We also just quickly did the melt-a-gun shots, and they failed to wound into the Mauler Fiend. So with that, that is all of the Knights charged, and we're going to go right into the charge phase. We're going to go with the first Warglaive here, right into the Mauler Fiend, hoping for a good charge to make room for his brother on an 8. We'll definitely make it, so we'll slide on to the side. And then we will go in, hopefully with his companion right here, for a total of a 10, with the +1, thanks to our Errant's Bondsman ability. We'll get them both into range, and should be out of heroic intervention of the Warpsmith, and right danger close to this flank of the Chaos Space Marines. With both of those Armigers in close combat with Mauler Fiend, we actually cannot rush in with my third and final armor from the center, otherwise I would lose extend battle lines, since this is the only no man land objective that I am currently on. So that's actually going to do it for the charge phase. At the start of the fight phase, I've spent 2 CP for the knights, bringing us down to 11 for both Impetuous Glory and Pack Tactics. That's going to be from Pack Tactics an additional attack for each of the Warglaves, and Impetuous Glory on melee attacks of a 6 will get an additional hit. That's going to be 5 attacks from 2 Warglaves into the Mauler Fiend, and 6s explode. So we are hoping to very swiftly kill the armored threats of the Marines and then start picking off infantry in the later battle rounds. We're going to start with the first of our Warglaves into the Mauler Fiend. So this is going to be 5 attacks. 6s will explode. That'll get me an additional 1. And then take out that 2. Strength 10 versus toughness 7, so 3s to wound. We'll use our reroll here to get 3 wounds going through at AP -4. Bring the Mauler Fiend up to its 5-up Demon Engine save. And failing all 3 of those, that would be enough to bring it down to its bottom wound. So I'm going to go with a command reroll here for the Mauler Fiend. On a 2, that'll lose us a command point, lose us 9 wounds, and take us through the activation of the first Warglaive. With the Mauler Fiend down to 3 wounds, I'm going to spend 2 CP for the Sons of Satan, bringing us down to 7 to interrupt with the Mauler Fiend. There's going to be 6 attacks with the Mauler Fiend Fists. On 5s, re-rolling misses because I got charged and I am Word Bearers. So 1 hit so far. And only 1 hit goes through with that. So strength 14, wounding on a 2. Wounds on a 2. -3 will take us to the 4-up invuln, thanks to my bondsman ability. And he will unfortunately make it. Then we'll do the 6 attacks with the Lasher Tendrils on 5s. Re-rolling my misses from Word Bearers. Wouldn't have minded all those 5s on the Fists, but oh well. Strength 7, toughness 7, so 4s. To go through at -2. So again, a 4-up invuln. Make 1 fail 1. For 1 damage going through to the Warglaive who has not fought. And at this point, since I've got their page up, we'll just do the second Warglaive right back. Exploding 3 times. Missing once. And then on 3s to wound. 4 5-up invulns. Alright, make 2. So he does make a decent show of it. But that will unfortunately be enough to destroy the Mauler Fiend. On a 6. A 6 does happen. So that'll be D3 mortal wounds to everything within 6. This corner of the battlefield was rocked with a titanic explosion. So the 2 Warglaives are now down to 9 and 8 wounds respectively. The Word Bearer's 5-up shrug was able to do a lot of work. So Warpsmith only took 1. The Defiler also only took 1. The Marines back here were not so lucky. They did lose 1 of their numbers. And then the Chaos Spawn in the bottom of the Bruin was supposed to take 3, but he made all of his 5-up shrugs. So definitely more damaging of an explosion to the Imperial forces than the Chaos forces. but we're already missing one of our big beaters for melee. And speaking of melee, we are currently, as we wrap up the turn, on 1 tally for blood and guts. Solidly got no prisoners and extend battle lines, so we are going to go to 10 points to nothing at the end of turn 1 for the Imperial Knights. And now we're going to go see what the Chaos Space Marines can do to strike back in the first battle round. Seeking to strike back against their Imperial enemies, the Chaos Space Marines have decided that the best that they can do is to kill from afar and to grind down more of their machines than their demon engines. So we've got overwhelming firepower, defend our stronghold, and grind them down. So we like those cards. We definitely kept all of those. We did spend our round CP, keeping us at 7, to make sure that the 1 wound Land Raider had 1 full turn of operating at full capacity before they were able to be taken out by the Knights. In the command phase, the Warpsmith has decided to soup up the remaining Demon Engine right here, with the Defiler going up to full wounds and to improve its shooting attacks. And with that, we're going to go on to the movement phase, see what the Warp Lightning Storms have in turn for us on Chaos Space Marines turn 1, and then go on to shooting. Here we are at the end of the Psychic phase, and the Warp continues to show that it is fickle, even to those who seek to claim it, as this unit of Marines took a mortal wound, and the Chaos Spawn took another mortal wound at the start of the Psychic phase. The Knight Castellan did also take a mortal wound, but when you have 28, what's 1 more wound? The plan for the Space Marines is kill, 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 and try to live, 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 live. So the Warpsmith and Defiler are backed up with some Accursus cultists and some pot shots here from the Legionnaires, trying to take care of these 2 Warglaves, while the Mark of Khorne squad aptly charges forward, singing in 8-folded chants. The Possessed have done what I hope to be a tricky little maneuver in hiding behind the tank. So I'm hoping, because I'm currently obscured from the Warden, I can get a charge into him without Overwatch. Now, it is going to be a 9-inch charge to go through the breachable ruin train, but that should hopefully be enough with a reroll to get in there. And then our second Mark of Tzeentch squad simply moved on up and is barely within range of this objective marker. So if they're still able to survive with their cover at the start of round 2, or turn 2 rather, that'll at least be 5 more points for the Chaos Space Marines. So with that, we're going to go on to shooting and hopefully start trying to pick up some of these Knights. Started off with a lot of the small arms fire off camera from the Chaos Space Marines. Over here, these 2 Warglaves are untouched. A pistol will reach out and was able to tickle a wound off of this Warglaive, and overcharging the plasma gun from this Legionnaire squad was able to bring down the Warden 2 more wounds. So that's all of our heavy weapons, or not heavy weapons, or light weapons, say said and done. So now we're going on to the heavy weapons. We'll start with the Defiler. Everything that I've got is going to go into that further Warglaive, trying to finish off the closer one in close combat. So D6 shots from the Defiler cannon. That'll be a 1 shot, and I've got other things to save my CP for, namely las cannons. So 1 shot on a 2. Hits, strength 8, toughness 7 on a 3. Makes it -2. Brings us to our 4-up invuln save from the Bondsman ability. Fails that right there. and then 3 more damage on that Warglaive. Then we have 4 shots from the Reaper autocannon. 3 hits. Strength 7, toughness 7, so 4 is to wound. 2 wounds at -2. Again, our 4 up invuln. Make 1, fail 1. Brings him down to 5 wounds remaining. And let's see, I did replace the Heavy Flamer with the Defiler Scourge. So no more shooting from the Defiler. And then that leaves our heavy guns of the Land Raider to go next. Finally, for the shots from the Land Raider, we're going to put everything into the Knight Castellan. So 2 CP spent to rotate his ion shields to hopefully keep the big guns alive. But it's going to be big guns versus big guns. So we will start with the 2 twin Soul Shatter las cannons. So 4 shots on 3s. There you go. And all hit. One of those gets an explosion thanks to being in the first wonton. So strength 9, toughness 8, so 3s to wound. And I think we definitely want to try to throttle damage here as much as possible. So I'll reroll that 2. So that is going to be 5 las cannon shots going against a 4-up invuln. Ooh, yay. There you go. So that is 5 fails. And I think at this point there's no reason not to at least try to save one of those with CP. And that is another 2. So that will be 5d6 plus 10 damage right onto the Knight Castellan. So while the Knights definitely took their toll in the first turn, the Land Raider is showing why you cannot leave it alive. So 5d6 plus 10. No rerolls for damage. Ooh, alright, so, that's interesting. So 6, 12, 13, 23 damage going through to the Castellan from the Land Raider's las cannons. Only 4 wounds remaining on the Castellan. So let's see if the twin heavy bolter is able to do it. So we've got heavy 6. So we do have a couple misses. That 6 does explode from first round and being heavy. 5 versus 8, so wounding on 5s. Alright, another pair of wounds at AP -1, going to a 3-up armor save. Make 1, fail 1. No reroll, so that's going to be another 2 damage taken to the Castellan, bringing it down to a pair of wounds remaining. Here we are at the start of the charge phase after the Castellan almost falls to the single Land Raider. So we're going to start off with charges over here with the accursed cultists going in to this 8 wound remaining Warglaive first. And with double 1s, that will unfortunately not do it. We also have significantly more important charges to make, so we will let that one go through. Next up, we're going to go to the Defiler into that same Warglaive. And I think we will choose to Overwatch here, as I have made it so that the other 2 Knights getting charged are only charging with things that the melta weapons don't care to fire at, or the possessed that are currently hidden. 1 CP spent for the Knights, bringing them down to 7, did nothing to the Defiler. Warp Smith also charged on in. We are now in range of this no man's land objective with the Defiler, thanks to an 8-inch charge. Then we'll go to the 8-man squad of Mark of Corn, getting in with a 10 quite handily. And then we'll continue moving them on in. Next up, finally, is the Possessed. They need a 9-inch charge to make it into the Warden. and Overwatch is no longer an issue. With a 4, that's going to be a CP spent for a reroll, bringing the Chaos Space Marines down to a 5. And with a 6, they're not going to make it in, unfortunately. So the Warden will probably have to be the sole contender on this flank after the Castellan barely weathered the shooting phase. So we'll go on to moving the rest of the Marines in and come back to you with the first fight. Our first fight with the Chaos Space Marines is going to go into this Warglaive in the center. So we currently have 28 attacks just with the Chainsword wielding Legionnaires, with the Mark of Khorne, with the Icon, with Word Bearers. And we're also going to spend a CP, bringing us down to 4 on Wrath of Khorne to make my 6s automatically wound. So struggling to pick up all those dice with the one hand as I film. So this is going to be 28 attacks, 7 times 4, 28. With re-rolling hits, 6s explode, an additional strength, and an additional AP, all on the charge. And then those 6s, or those 3 that I didn't roll in the first one. So re-rolling my misses, thanks to being Word Bearers. So a total of 4 will miss, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 go right on through to wound. And the rest of them will be on 5s. So that's another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then that's a total of 5, 10, 11 at AP minus 2. So that will go to an armor save of a 5-up. Making exactly 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage taken on the Warglaive. And then we will go into the leader's attacks with the axe. And the unit's champion with his Tainted Chain Axe was able to get 3 wounds through at minus 2. So we're looking at 5-up saves. And that is triple failures, so that will be 1 Warglaive taken out. On a 6, does he explode? He does not. That is 1 Warglaive taken out. 1 tally for grind them down. And a couple 100 points off the table for the Knights. Now with the Knights, we're going to spend 2 CP to interrupt with this front Warglaive, doing his strike attacks into the Defiler, trying to take him down before we get downed. So we are currently on our top bracket. So 4 attacks. We'll re-roll 1 here. And then 2 hits, strength 10, wounding on 3s. 2 wounds at minus 4 will take us to our 5-up invuln for being a demon engine. Make 1, fail 1. So that will be 3 wounds taken on the Defiler, bring it down to 11 before it strikes back. We're going to start the Defiler's attacks with its claws, hitting on 3s. Strength 16, toughness 7, so on 2s will be 4 at the 4th invuln. Make 3 of those, fail 1. Defiler claws, d6 damage a time. For 3 damage, taking it down to 5. We will use a CP, try to see if we can't take this guy down a little bit quicker than that. I guess 3 was meant to be. And then with the Defiler Scourge, we make 3 additional attacks. Rerolling the miss from being word bearer. 2 hits at strength 12, so 3s. 1 at -2 AP, so 4 invuln. Will make it again. Finally, for the Sons of Satan, it's the Warpsmith with his Mecha Tendrils and Power Axe. 5 attacks on 3s. Rerolling from Wonder Bearers. 4 hits, wounding on 5s. That'll be 1 wound going through at -2, taking us to the 4 invuln. And that'll be 2 more damage taken on the middle Warglaive, and then the attacks from the Mecha Tendrils. 4 attacks. 4 hits. Then strength 4 on 5s again. Will be 1 wound at no AP. And that'll be 1 more planked off, taking him down to 2. Importantly, allowing him to survive, but definitely creating a good buffer for the Chaos Space Marines on their home objective, and putting a decent dent back at the end of round 1. No morale to take on either side. Scoring it up for the Chaos Space Marines. We're working to defend our stronghold. We have killed 1 knight and almost killed the Castellan flat out. We also did not, unfortunately, get anything in Overwhelming Fighting Power. So we're going to ditch Overwhelming Firepower, as we're more of a melee build anyway. We'll hopefully get Defense Stronghold, grind them down. We're probably not going to be able to score, but that discards for free anyway. So no sense in throwing it away in case we get absurdly lucky. But at the end of Battle Round 1, here's how we're looking. So definitely a decent chunk put into both armies. So we will have to see how Lady Luck shines on either the Imperium or Chaos in turn 2. Scoring 5 points on the primary at the start of Battle Round 2. The Knights have gone up to 7 command points, and we are looking to continue to secure Blood and Guts, deny them the access to the center, and no retreat, no surrender. So no issues on no retreat, no surrender, and area denial. Looks like we're just going to have to get rid of this squad in the middle. So we will keep those 3 cards handy, and then we will move on through Command and Psychic and come back to you at the end of movement. The Warp was angry that day, my friends. For the Imperial Knights continue to suffer ill omens. The Castellan has been taken down to exactly 1 wound remaining, thanks to continued strikes from Warp Lightning. We also have a wound taken off of the Knight Errant, and it seems that Tzeentch, or whatever warp entity is looking over this battlefield, has decided to favor the Sons of Satan this turn, as none of them took mortal wounds from the Warp Lightning Storm of the mission. We've also moved on up, so the Warlord is now hoping to join this melee, clear out as much of them as he can, while the Warden is going to be the one to secure the area of the center, and the Castellan is going to try to make best use of his weapons while he is still on the field. And speaking of the Castellan, we are going to go out in a blaze of glory, hopefully. So we are going to spend his missiles to go into the Land Raider. Both of the Siegebreaker cannons are also going to go into the Land Raider, along with the Volcano Lance. And the Plasma Decimator is going to go not overcharged into the squad in the center. 1 CP spent for the Land Raider on Smokescreen. So we are going to be hitting on 6s from the Castellan to hopefully still be on the board. And in our next turn, be able to continue operating on full efficiency, as this is one of our heavy-hitting anti-knight weaponry in the shooting phase. Saving the best for first, we're going to go with the Volcano Lance into the Land Raider. A D3 shots will be 2 shots, hitting on 6s, a 5, and a 4. So that will be the smoke screen paying off, but I think we are going to have to try to use a reroll here, hoping for a lucky 6. And a lucky 6 we get. Very, very lucky. So, strength 16, toughness 9, wounding on a 3, and a 1. We are definitely going to use a CP now to reroll this in the shooting phase. And that is a 2. The Land Raider just might survive. So we did spend the Shield Breaker missiles. So one of them on a 6. Misses. Both of the Siege Breaker cannons, so 4d3 shots. So that's going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 shots. On 6s. 1 hits. On a 5. Does not wound. And then, goodness golly, Miss Molly, I think that might be the Land Raider surviving the Castellan. Then finally, the Plasma Decimator will be 2d6 for a total of 7 shots. Into the Mark of Corn squad. Now this will be back on 5s. There you go. Would have been nice going into the Land Raider there. And then picking them up essentially on 2s. 3 wounds. AP -4 goes to -3. So 6s to save. Will take 3 of the Marines off the board. So, not an ideal turn of shooting from the Castellan. We're going to have to see if perhaps the Warden has to split his fire. Next up in the shooting gallery is the Warden. He is going to fire some into the Land Raider and some into his priority target. So the Heavy Flamer and the missiles will go into the Legionnaires, while the Gatling gun and the Melta-gun will still go into the smoke-screened Land Raider. So we're going to be hitting on 4s, starting with the Gatling gun. The smoke screen just saved me, I believe, 4 shots, or 4 hits, rather, on 5s to wound. That'll be 2 wounds taken at -2, taking it down to a 4-up. That looks like a 4 and a 3. And I think at this point, the Chaos Space Marines need this Land Raider alive, so we'll re-roll it into a fail, unfortunately. So that is the Land Raider destroyed. Does it explode? It does not explode, so we will carry on through the rest of the shots and then take the Terminators out and see where we are then. Getting out unscathed is the Chaos Lord and his 5-man Terminator squad in danger close position to the Warden, but with the Corn squad acting as a needed kill in the middle. We are hoping that the Warden does not care enough to charge backwards and deny himself the points. So finally, we are going to go on to the Errant, who is going to shoot. And as I say that, I realize there's a couple of tempting options, so I will close the clip and get back to you when I have made up my mind. Yes, as I was filming that last clip, I saw that the Errant could pretty easily kill off the 5-man squad of Legionnaires in the center, and then the Warden could swing back around to take care of the Terminators, that way denying a potential charge back in our turn. So I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to guarantee that the Errant kills the middle squad by firing everything at them. So we are going to go into them with the thermal cannon first. So heavy 2d3 for 2 shots. We'll keep it like that. Then on 3s, on 2s, we'll use our lay low the tyrant or defend the realm reroll here to get 2. Needing 6s to save. Nope, so that will be 2 more of them gone. Then the stubbers will get 3 6s to hit. And then 2 wounds. 1 saves, 1 makes it. So that'll be 1 more wound. And then finally the Icarus on top. We'll get all 4 hits. And 1 more wound. And he makes it. So, unfortunately, my hope that the errant was able to kill in the center did not pan out. But we still have this lone warglaive, and he'll just take some pot shots at the backfield objective holders. And at the end of the shooting phase, the final warglaive just took off the chaos spawn, so 1 less to hold the home field objective. I was originally planning on the errant to see if he could erase both the legionnaires and the spawn down here. That way I could defend the stronghold, but trying to take out the legionnaires in the center seemed like a better gamble. Unfortunately, it didn't pay off, but here we are, and we still have 2 healthy knights in the center who are about to charge in. So this errant is going to charge into the Defiler, getting it pretty comfortably with 7. And then the Warden in the center on an 8 will just scooch on around like so. And with only 1 CP for the Chaos Space Marines, we'll go right on through some of the attacks and come back to you when we get something interesting. Unsurprisingly, the Warden cleared off the Chaos Space Marines from the center objective. Now we go on to the Errant Warlord. We're going to do our strike attack, so 4 attacks into the Defiler. We'll use our reroll here to get there, and with only 1 hit, I'll use a CP reroll as well, so bring us down to 6. Strength 14 into the Defiler's toughness 7, so 2s to wound. And that'll be 2 wounds at -4, taking us up to his 5-up demon save. And double 6s will let the Defiler live. So that is the 2 chargers. So now we go on to non-chargers. And then we will go through the rest of the fights. Here we are at the end of the fight phase. So wrapping everything up here. The Warpsmith was the next to fight. He took out the Warglaive, which managed to explode, doing some mortal wounds to everybody here, including taking out one of the accursed cultists down here. Then the Defiler fought back, bringing the Errant Warlord down to 19 wounds remaining between him and the mortal wounds. We also have completed everything for the turn. So scoring everything up, we did kill another unit in melee. We did score area denial, and we are currently working on no retreat, no surrender. So bringing us up to a total of 20 points to nil at the end of Knight's turn 2. So we're definitely losing assets, and assets are being chipped down wounds, but the Knights are still doing what they do, bullying everything that they can see. So we'll see if the Chaos Space Marines can bully back. Start of battle round 2, and the cards are kind of a mixed message on what we want to do. So we need to bring it down, assassinate, and area denial. So bring it down is needing to take out the Castellan on 1 wound, assassinations to take care of the errant, and area denial is to take care of the warden. So each of these requires a different of the 3 remaining big knights to go down. So probably not going to be a very high scoring turn, but as long as we can get 1, that's essentially a third of the battlefield cleared of large threats to the Space Marines. So we are on 2 points for, or 2 command points, 2 points for primary, so we only score the 5. So we're currently 10 to 20 in favor of the knights, but anything can happen. And we do still have the Warp Talons to come on down at the end of movement to make a hassle of themselves. So we will have to see what we can do as we go through command phase and the rest of psychic and movement. As we begin the shooting phase, here is the battlefield. So nothing much changed over on this flank. The accursed cultists have moved on up, finally getting out of the crater. Did just move them a little bit further just to make sure that wobbly model syndrome wasn't a thing. So they're kind of more in this space and on these, but the bigger torment models didn't want to really fit. Over on the middle of the board, the possessed have moved on through into this ruin to come danger close to the warden as well as the warlord and the terminators. They are threatening the Castellan with their combi bolters, and the warp talents have also come down to have a 9-inch charge to either the Castellan or the warden, depending on what we need come the charge phase. So with that, we're going to go on to the shooting phase. The Mantle of Traitors went on to this unit right here. So they are considered in range of my Warlord's Captain ability to reroll 1s. So we're going to start off with them, and on this flank, we're just going to try to clean some stuff up. So this squad and the Warpsmith are going to both go into the Warglaive. Defiler is going to fire what he can into the errant to try to secure this flank. The final Warglaive was taken off thanks to the plasma gun overcharging and rerolling 1s from this squad. The Defiler did plink a wound off of the errant, taking him down to 18 wounds. Meanwhile, the Warden now faces down some charges, and we are going to start up the shooting phase. Everything from this squad of Terminators is going to go into the Castellan to try to chip out that last wound remaining. So it's going to be 20 shots from the Terminators. I spent 1 CP to make this the Wrath of the Chosen, so hitting it on 2s, rerolling 1s, and 6s will explode, thanks to being in the second stage of the Chaos Space Marine Wontons. So, only my 1s miss, thanks to that CP, and then I get to reroll them. So 2 misses, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 explode, so I net, what is that, 3, and then it is going to be Strength 4 into Toughness 8, so I'm looking for 6s. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 up saves. Ideally, I'm looking for 2 of these to be 1s for the Chaos Space Marines to take out the Castellan. And that is no 1s right there. So, close but no cigar, unfortunately. Next up, we're going to go into the Warlord. He'll throw his shots downrange as well, but that'll probably be about it for the shooting phase. So the Chaos Lord in Terminator armor was not able to plink off that last wound from the Castellan. I was able to, with a lucky overcharge from the plasma, take 2 wounds off of the Warden, bring him down to 20 even. So now we are here in the charge phase. After hemming and hawing a bit, I'm going to have it be the Possessed that take the Overwatch. So the Possessed are going to declare into the Warden first, but the Chaos Lord and Terminators will also declare. So we will go on through Overwatch and the Chargers. 1 CP left, which will probably be on the Warp Talons, but I will come back to you as a summary after Chargers are done. At the start of the fight phase, we have made it in unscathed into the Warden. Luckily enough, the Possessed made all of their armor saves that were needed, so they came in unscathed, still 7 of them to attack. Warp Talons used up my last CP, so I'm on 0 to reroll their failed charge. So they are kind of stuck out in the open, unfortunately, but they are threatening the Castellan at the very least. And the Warden also did not get charged by the accursed cultists, so we are hoping to bring down the Warlord. So it looks like out of the 3 cards, it'll be Assassination that we are looking to get. So we'll start the fight phase with, I'd say I'm probably going to start with the Possessed, but I'll give it a think and then come back to you with our first fight. I'm going to start off with the Terminators since they benefit from the Captain's reroll ability, and they're a little bit easier for the Warden to take off, being T4 versus the Possessed T5. So we're going to be hitting on 3s, rerolling our 1s thanks to the Captain's ability. And it looks like we have 1, 2, and nothing else there. So that will be strength 5 on T8, so 5s to wound for a total of 1, 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 at minus 3 AP. So we are going to be looking for 6s to save. So that one that rolled off was a 6, but everything else goes right on through to the other sides for 9 damage taken on the Warden. Now I will interrupt with Warden going into the Possessed. So only 9 wounds remaining, so this will be on 4s. Strength 8, toughness 5, so 3s, re-rolling thanks to being House Cadmus. And then that is going to be 5 at minus 3 on their 5-up invuln saves. Make 3, fail 2. 2 damage a time, will kill 1 and bring another to 1 wound remaining. And then 6 Possessed left to go back into the Warden, as well as the Warlord. And you'll notice a nice knight-shaped hole in the center of the field. 18 damage spilled through from the Possessed, so Noble Sacrifice was used, taking the Possessed down to a 4-man unit, bringing the Lord down to 6 wounds, taking 1 wound off of a Terminator, and the explosion even reached out and touched the Warp Talons. And now that I think about it, should have touched the Possessed, or not the Possessed, the Accursed Cultists as well. So 4 mortal wounds would have taken out the 4 remaining little guys, leaving just the big ones, which won't count for their morale. But that will take a large swath of the army out from the middle. We'll also get area denial for the Chaos Space Marines, but we still have the Errant to strike back in melee against the Defiler. So we'll do that combat off camera and then come back to you as we wrap it up. It continues to be a slugfest over here with the Defiler and the Errant. The Defiler's been taken down to exactly 1 wound, and the Errant's been taken down to 14. With that, at the end of Chaos Space Marines turn 2, we still have Brant Down and Assassination. So with both of the models still left on the table, giving those up, I am going to choose to keep those. So at the end of round 2, it is 15 to 20 in favor of the Knights, but they are looking thin on the ground, as Knights often do, as the killing commences. So we're going to go on to battle round 3 to see what the Knights can do as we go through into the heart of the battle. Gods of the War prove that they are fickle, as the cards do not look like they are going to favor the Imperial Knights this battle round. We're up at 30 at the start of the turn, but we are only up 1 command point, and we are left with Blood and Guts, attempting target, and grind them down after discarding overwhelming firepower. So the tempting target, of course, is selected to be this one that the Knights could not be further away from. And Blood and Guts, probably achievable. Grind them down, possibly, but with only 2 models left on the table, not looking like it is going to be a very high-scoring turn, but hopefully we can balance that out by making it be a high-killing turn. So we're going to go through Command, Psychic, and Movement, and get back to you at the start of shooting. In summary, after the Psychic phase has finished, the Castellan just moved on away from the home objective. That way the Warp Storm did not kill about 600 points of possible shooting that I still have for the Knights. And nothing else particularly happened. The Errant also did not choose to fall back out of combat. Hopefully he'll be able to shoot his way out with the Defiler and charge into something new. The Legionnaires in the back did take 1 mortal wound. That's about it. So with that, we're going to declare everything from the Errant that can shoot into the Defiler. And then I am going to shoot all of the smaller weapons, so everything that's not one of the arms, into the Warp Talons, try to fend them off, while the big guns go and try to take out the Terminators, so that at the very least the Castellan can survive for another round or 2. At the end of shooting, the Castellan was able to kill a single Warp Talon and a single Terminator. The Errant was able to shoot his way out of combat with the Defiler, opening him up for the charge. So he's going to charge on into the Warpsmith with an 11, makes it with ease, and then he is going to try to strike him down. So 4 attacks, 6, 6, 6, 5. Strength 14, wounding on 2s. We'll use our Cadmus, or not Cadmus reroll, but our Chivalry reroll for 3 at -4. Take it to -3 for 3 5-up saves. Yeah, well, he did decent, but that is going to be 12 damage to the Warpsmith to kill another tally for Blood and Guts and get the Knights their 5 points. So we are good to wrap it up. We got Blood and Guts bringing us 5 more points. We got 2 on Grind Them Down, so I will get that unless they are able to table the Knights, and I'll throw away Attempting Target. So making do with what we got, but will it be enough? Possibly, probably not, but we shall see in Chaos Space Marines turn 3. turn 3 with the Chaos Space Marines, and again, cards are looking good. So we still have Bring It Down, we still have Assassination, and we now need to extend our battle lines, which is already done. So at this point, I think we just need to keep going in for the kill. So we are going to advance and see if we can't bring down these knights to get some scrap metal. Heck, maybe if we're good enough and we leave them, we'll leave a nice little treat for the Red Gobbo. And the Orky Santa will visit us in Christmas time. We'll go through the rest of Command Phase, Movement, and Psychic, and come back to see if shooting can bring down any of our beasts. Gonna be a quick shooting phase. In the Psychic phase, nothing happened with the Warp Storms, so we're just going to do all of the bolter shots from the Terminators, the Lord, and the Squad into the Castellan. And I am going to choose to go into the third Chaos Wanton. So we are going to be in Wanton Slaughter. So no exploding here for the rapid fire guns, but we will be exploding in melee, which is where word bearers are going to want to be. So the blue dice are the Lord's Combi Bolter, and the black are the Squads. So re-rolling 1s on the black dice. So there's 1-1 to reroll there. A couple of 2s to take out. Plenty of 6s that could have, should have, would have exploded, but oh well. Needing 6s to wound now. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4. And we do have a CP to reroll for the Castellan if needed. So we're looking at 3 successes and 1 fail. So we will try to keep the Castellan alive, spending on 1 CP to make it a 6. So that will go through the shooting phase. Uneventful. I guess I do also have this squad, so I'll do their pot shots real quick. Then I will charge in. At the end of the charge phase, looks like the Errant is in trouble, hopefully, for the Chaos Space Marines at least. The Cultists and the Possessed were able to get into combat. Over on the other flank, however, the Terminators were not so lucky, were not able to make the charge. And we have the Warp Talons in melee there. I did save 1 CP, so we need to show a 7 for the Terminator squad to make it in. And a 6 will bring us down to no CP and only the Warp Talons fighting the Castellan. But no chances of interrupts. So we'll go straight on through the Chaos Space Marines fights to see how many of these knights we can take down. After turn 3 for the Chaos Space Marines and battle round 3 concludes, here's how the battlefield is looking. The 2 Warp Talons were able to finally take down the Castellan, thanks to not having any CP to reroll left for my knights. Over here, the Accursed Cultists and the Possessed were able to take down the Errant to 4 wounds. He struck back, killed half of the remaining Possessed, so there's only 2 left in the squad. But with only 4 wounds left on the Errant, only 1 model left on the table, and a squad on over here, 2, 3 units right on over here to claim essentially 3 of the 5 objectives scot-free for the remaining 2 turns of the game. I think we can officially call it, even though right now the Knights do outscore. The Errant's not going to score anything in the primary, thanks to being finally outnumbered on the objective. And nothing else could really do much. Maybe he can get himself out of combat with those 2 and not have much to worry about from this 1 remaining squad down here. But then the other half of the table is still filled with plenty of threats and objective holding Terminators, Warp Talons, and Legionnaires. So this will be a day of infamy for the Imperium and a triumph for the Sons of Satan Renegade Space Marines. Hope everybody enjoyed the battle. This battle report was filmed after the full range of the Leagues of Votann were released to the general public, so I will be accumulating more, so you will be able to look forward to them in the near future, hopefully. But with that, hope everybody enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment on the video, and heck, share it with your friends, I wouldn't mind. And I'll see everybody and their pet squigs on the next battlefield of the 41st millennium.